Mr. Speaker, I don't mind admitting that I'm a real fan of using video technology to make things easier to judge, particularly when it comes to sporting endeavour, like watching the video replays whenever Manu Vatuvei scores for the Warriors, or when Serena Williams wins a line call against just about everybody else except her big sister. And more than that, Mr. Speaker, I also enjoy watching people scramble for their earpieces whenever me or Te Ururoa decide to throw some ad-lib Māori into our speeches in the House, like now. E te kaihako wā, e tautoko anau I tēnei tikanga, kia hāpai ngā rōpū me ngā whānau, e tiaki ana I te hunga haua, e ngā tāngata turi anō hoki, kia tāia e rātau te uru mai, ki roto I ngā mahi katoa o tēnei au. E ngari mō tēnei ki pire e wha, he mea no tēnei no leira, e tikana kia tirohia ki ona pāinga, ona he anō hoki. I te taha tautoko, anei wetahi pai. Apparently travel costs may be reduced if people can video link. People may feel safer if hoodlums are linked from jail. Witnesses may feel safer if they can hook in by video. And apparently cases can be dealt with in rural areas by video without judges having to travel. But if that's all this bill has got going for it, Mr. Speaker, then that's a pretty high price to pay for what I consider to be another step down a slippery slope in the denial of fundamental human rights to citizens of this country. And that, Mr. Speaker, is what this is. Yes, people can say this is about capacity and about efficiency, but what it really is, Mr. Speaker, is about telling defendants that somebody else will make the decision about their right to have a day in court and to be heard by their peers. Mr. Speaker, I've never been a great fan of the English judicial system for obvious reasons, but one thing I do like is the principle that a man must be brought before his accusers, that any man facing the possible loss of his liberty should have the right to face those who would take that liberty from him. And I believe that a decent society should safeguard that right with all the vigour and devotion that it would give to safeguarding the rights of its children, its women, its workers, its dogs, and one day, I pray, even the rights of its indigenous peoples. And I say all that, Mr. Speaker, because court by video would take that away. Court by video is not the sign of a mature society, or indeed of a sophisticated society, of a society that recognises the value of mankind and the rights of man. Not at all. Court by video, Mr. Speaker, in my view, is the coward's way of dispensing justice. Indeed, it sets justice to one side and denies people their right to a fair trial for the simple reason that it might save money. Certainly, court by video may improve efficiency, but the exercise of justice through the court system should not be based on models of industrial competence and good organisation. Justice should always be about the rights of all players, both the defendants and the plaintiffs, and not weighted to suit one side or the other. And court by video will clearly be of no benefit to those who are facing charges under the Crimes Act. Indeed, video will operate against those who face the courts in those circumstances. Court by video gives society the opportunity to stand aside from its decisions, to be one step removed from the tough decisions that it has to make, and to be faceless in its sentencing. And I'd be willing to bet that the minute we start down this road is the minute that court decisions, particularly against those facing charges under the Crimes Act, get harsher, because it's easier for people to condemn those they don't have to look in the eye, and to act out your prejudices when those you are sentencing can be switched off at the TV screen as if they were nothing more than an annoying advertisement. I can think of countless cases that I've been involved in when a judge or jury, rather than have to go through the angst and anxiety of actually hearing from a defendant, will be happier just dealing with a video and making a decision based on that, extending to our wider society the same kind of brutal, uncaring unreality that exists in the video game world, where we allow our kids by simply watching this stuff, to abuse, to assault, to maim, to rape, to kill, and even to massacre in the name of video sport. And in exactly the same way, Mr. Speaker, I have no doubt it's also easier to kill by video than it is to kill in person, and that it is easier to send a person to jail or keep them there by video link than it is to do in a courtroom, because we will be divorced from the harsh reality of our decisions by that video link. And as for that crappy story about how prisoners will be better off because they can give the evidence from jail, Mr. Speaker, my experience is that when you're in the same old jail cell with the same exercise times and the same medical times and the same meal times and the same food times every single day of the year, a day after court ain't exactly the hardship that some people might have you believe. Yes, the transport ain't the best, and the scenery ain't great between the Mount and the District Court, and the decor ain't the flashiest down in the cells, but it beats being in jail. Believe you me. Mr. Speaker, I have no doubt that there are people in this House who are keen on this, but I also know that the Attorney General himself, the government's very own Marshal, opposes this on the righteous grounds that it is bad legislation, that it is in breach of human rights, and that it is a step down the path of a faceless judicial process where Māori, I believe, will be ground up and spat out into jails without even the opportunity of confronting those who would send them away. Mr. Speaker, I am advised that the Māori Party will be supporting this bill at first reading to enable everybody to put their views before Select Committee, but that we retain the right to make a separate decision at second reading based on the information we hear at Select, and I respect that position. And Mr. Speaker, I intend to ensure that the party's votes reflect that position, but in the same way that Nikki Kay opposes her party's position on mining on the barrier, and Sir Roger Douglas opposed his party's position on the Mental Health Amendment Bill, I will not be supporting this bill at first reading, second reading or at third reading. Kia ora.